Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, if you're not here. So, in this week's meta tier list, we will be going over several decks. You guys reached out to me in the comments, which I really appreciate, and again, I really appreciate all the viewership that this, series is getting. So, you can see I'm recording this on the 2nd of June, so I will try to release this by the 4th of June for this week, and then I'll just try and do it week by week for you guys to give you guys like updated opinions and things of that nature. The game is ever evolving and changes weekly, as we all know, and if you guys don't see your deck in here, just shout it out in the comments and I'll be more than happy to research it. Several of you will see that I've added your requested deck, and yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. Now, these videos may be a little bit longer because given all the decks added, obviously, I've had to do a bit of a research onto this, and I need to be more picky about where these decks should end up. So, let's get right into the first one. What is Dark Horse? Dark Horse is a deck that could come out of nowhere and hit any one of these. Okay? So if I put it there, it's because ultimately I don't really know where it may fall, but it could come out of nowhere and hit every one of these levels, and you'll see me talk about it throughout the video. So, first and foremost, Sword Soul. I think that this is a local caliber deck. I don't think that it belongs anywhere at a regional, or even, most certainly not, a YCS. The combo lines are very linear, even with the new support, and it's kind of easy to stop now. Nib can solo this deck. Imperm can solo this deck. So you gotta think about things like that. Next deck, let's go here, Live Twin. This deck, in my opinion, is definitely a YCS caliber deck. It can extend. It has no problem with your hand traps. It can play through them. It can fight through them. And it ends on a very recur heavy board, meaning that like it doesn't care if you get rid of stuff. It's just going to recur itself, which in today's metagame is huge. Recursion is huge in today's metagame. So you'll see a lot of those decks that have really good recursion ending up at the top level. Dragon Rulers. I want to put this highest tier regional to lowest tier YCS. You do see it at a lot of YCSs, yes, with Tempai. However, I think like good players don't really care about it. They don't really care what you're trying to do, they're going to play through. And so when it comes to a YCS level event, I can see it maybe topping like one deck in at 64 or 32, but like I don't think it's consistent enough to really fight in today's metagame. Okay, next up, Runic. I think Runic is definitely on par with Sword Soul. I think that it's a good stun version of the deck, and I think that it can mix with several engines well, but I just don't see it as like anything better than a locals deck, honestly. I think even at regionals you're kind of overstepping your boundaries, because at a regional you need to be able to put up with the meta and off-brand stuff, and I don't think Runic can do that. So, Sky Striker. To me, I'll put this at the top end of locals because we don't have the new support yet, I don't believe, and it can be a part of an engine, but I don't see it by itself really doing anything beyond a local right now, because regionals and up guys are really heavy suited for meta top tier decks. Okay. Speaking of which, Ubel, I think, is at the top of regional / bottom of YCS, and the reason for that is because I think that like same reasons as Dragon Rulers, like it can pop off, it can go hard, but like As long as there's cards like Super Poly, Droplet, Evenly, things of that nature, like, most decks right now are running like 21 on engine. How can this deck compete against that? Now, I got a buddy, Ben Smallman, no gripe to you, bro. You are a god with this deck, but like, how confident would you be to take it to a YCS right now? That's the question you gotta ask UBL players. And from what I'm seeing, I'm not really seeing anybody take it to that level. I'm seeing them play it at regional, and certainly at local, but I'm not really seeing it anywhere in the YCS. White Force is definitely a YCS level deck. Its recursion is crazy. It can keep going for days. It can eat hand traps like nobody's business. It can play on your opponent's turn, and it can bring all its resources back on your opponent's turn. Crazy deck. It needs a little more oomph. I don't know how you guys can describe it, but oomph. It needs to pack a little bit more of a punch, but it's right there. Let's go with a new deck that I've added, Kriston. Kriston is definitely, in my opinion, a YCS caliber deck. I have been watching a couple of people play it, especially at the YCS level. If this deck can pop off, it goes crazy. However, I don't feel like it can eat all of today's hand traps. There are certain hand traps that just end this turn dead on arrival. And so, you gotta think about that nature. Lancia is a huge turn ender, and it's in everybody's side deck. Things of that nature, so just be cognizant of that. Infernoble, I would definitely say keep it to locals, man. If you're feeling frisky and you want to mix it with like Snake Eye or something like that, like go for it, but like right now it's just not too competitive. Combo decks really struggle right now, and so this is part of that victim age. It's just UBL is a stronger combo deck than Infernoble, certainly. Eldritch. I would say that Eldritch is like top tier regional caliber. I mean, it's really trying hard even in today's game to be a good trap deck, and new support's on the horizon, so it is going to see a spark. But yeah, the recursion is there. I just don't think that the recursion is strong enough in today's game. But a great pilot will take it to a regional and go far. So, Sharks. I want to put Sharks in Dark Horse. This is my first Dark Horse deck of the tier list. Why is that? When I look at it at a local level, it can take a local down. A good Shark player can go into a local and run the table. A good Shark player can go to a regional level and top. Can a great Shark player go to a YCS caliber event and make day 2? I kind of want to say yes, which I know is crazy because Bahamut just got banned, but like, I don't know, man. If you watch some of these Shark players out there, they just cook Ryzel, they cook Mitts, they cook Malice. They're going crazy. So this is my first deck where I'm like, I don't really know where I want to put you for those reasons. Okay. Snake Eye. I think Snake Eye is definitely a locals deck. What sucks is that all the decks that I like are falling in the local tier. But I think it's definitely a locals deck. I think that you're kind of foolish to take it to regional because people who play the game a lot more than locals players, they're going to read right through you and what you're trying to do, even if it's with like a mixture of Fire King or Fiendsmith or whatever. They're going to read into it and they're going to play around it. And that's what kind of sucks. But you go into a locals where you catch people off guard, you got a good chance of taking it down. Another new deck is Odeon. I think it is definitely a regionals deck. It's definitely the second best trap deck in my opinion right now. It's really good. It can hold its own in a lot of grind matches, and it's tough to beat because you don't know what's being said. You don't know if it's just one of the monsters or whatever it is, but sometimes the only out you have against this deck is Evenly, and for all you know, they got a Solemn. So yeah, just keep your eyes out for that. Ice Barrier. I would leave Ice Barriers at local level. I just think that it can't really compete in today's regional levels. Too many cashiers, too many, what do you call it? People playing things that can just banish all your shit. Like, and there's just too many hand traps in the game right now for this deck, in my opinion. So, yeah. Probably one of the strongest decks that I want to look at right now is Mitsurugi. I think that this deck is probably hands down one of the top like 3 or 4 decks in the game on the TCG side. Just the sheer fact of what it does, the power it has, the recursion it has, and all the resource gathering you can do, and the amount of non-engine it plays, it makes it one of the best ritual decks that we've seen in a long time. So, let's talk about Manadium. Manadium, I kind of want to put at like upper local because it's a good combo deck, and people who don't know how to play against it are really going to be thrown off guard. They don't know that, like, if you're playing a locals competitor who's not really paying attention to you, and we've all seen it at locals, somebody who's just like, go ahead, and they're looking at your board the whole time, but they're not realizing what you're doing, and that all they need to do is droll you. You're going to cook that whole day. At a regional level, though, everybody already knows how to stop you. And certainly at a YCS, I don't think you're popping off at all. Especially with cross out at 1. So, my next Dark Horse deck, Tier. Now, I took a long, hard look at this deck, and I think last week I put it in regional level. However, if you have a godly Tier player, I think they could easily day 2 a YCS. And the reason being with that is because there's things like Regenesis, there's Bestials, there's Kashira, there's Fiendsmith. There's so many sub-engines that they could add to this deck to really just re-unscrew with you before they pop off with Tier that, like, it's hard to get a read on this. Because I've seen people at locals take down locals with Tier. I've seen people at regionals topping left and right. And the only thing that I'm questionable about is YCS, but it's like, in Tier, create that regional success into a YCS success, which I don't know. So that'll be my second Dark Horse deck of the day. Vanquish Soul. Right now, I would say it's a bottom tier regional deck. It's on the verge of becoming tier 0, of course, we all know with K9. But right now, I think it can certainly compete at locals easily and win locals with the amount of non-engine it plays and the other sub-engines it can add in. But at a regional, I think kind of the same way. For the same reasons. It can really play a lot of non-engine and throw your opponent through a loop and make you have to deal with 10 things before they normal summon Raisin or use a Stake Your Soul. Something of that nature. So, be on the lookout for that deck, especially with the new hype coming with K9. People are going to start really trying to play it a lot to learn the inside-out combos of Vanquish Soul and learn the resource management. Speaking of a deck like that, I want to throw in Kashtira. I think Kashtira is definitely a top-tier regional deck. It eats hand traps like crazy. It has all kinds of room to play whatever sub-engine it wants. And I think even, dare I say, a great Kashtira player could day 2 a YCS, certainly. Could they top? I don't know. It's really going to be hard for them to squeak out those wins over Malice. But it could, in my opinion. Let's talk about another newbie, Regenesis. Regenesis, I can't believe I've forgotten about it this last episode, but it is definitely a YCS tier deck in my opinion. 4 reasons, kind of similar to Kashtira. In my opinion, Regenesis does what Kashtira wants to do better. It's kind of like the way I look at between Blue Eyes and Voiceless. I love I love Voiceless Voice, but Blue Eyes does everything that Voiceless does better. And that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from Regenesis. It's recursion, it's non-engine, it's ability to play sub-engines. It can be a sub-engine, it's just great in that sense. Let's go to Pure Tempai. I've been really back and forth with this, but I mean, dare I say, I think Tempai is still a YCS caliber deck. And the reason for that is because day one, a lot of your opponents are expecting Malice, they're expecting Ryzel, and then all of a sudden you drop Chandra on them. You go Fiendsmith combo, they interact with that and think, okay, cool, I got you. You're going to set an impermanent pass, and then you drop Sengen Summoning. Like, this deck just has the ability to play so much non-engine. I think I've seen a person playing like 26 non-engine. Some of them are just board breakers, some of them are great just hand traps. Like, that's why I just want to say that this deck can still compete. I think we just sleep on it because we like to play with our new toys. But I think that Tempai is, especially with a ban list, is on the verge of a comeback. So be on the lookout. Branded. I'm going to put you at low regional level. Again, with the combo decks that I want to keep on going with. I just don't think that even great branded players are going to step up to this meta very well, because there's just so many interactions now with hand traps that it's just so hard for a combo deck to really, especially if it doesn't have the room to play non-engine quite at the level of top tier decks. I just don't see it doing much more than playing at a regional and maybe not even topping. Now for my third and final deck that is a dark horse of the day, Sprite. Sprite, what's funny is that these are all water decks, but it's true. Sprite is funny in my opinion because it can mix and match so well with so many things. We've seen it with Orcus, we've seen it with Live Twin, we've seen it with Fiendsmith, see it with so many non-engines, hell even tier, things of that nature. Like, it can pop off and just extend, and a great Sprite player is going to eat you alive, even in today's metagame. So I don't really know where it falls, because what if a great Sprite player just shows up and decides, hey, I'm going to have a great YCS in day 2? Easily could see it happening. That's how strong the deck is to this day. So be on the lookout for that deck as a dark horse. Voiceless Voice. I think Voiceless is a great regional deck. I would say YCS if it had the Ryzel engine in it. But Voiceless Voice as it stands on its own, you're not really going to catch a lot of great players off. And good players at regionals may struggle against it because you can play some pretty tricky non-engine. You can extend a lot, and you do play a pretty good board breaker with Nadir Servant, so you could have a good day with that, but only at a regional level in my opinion. Fiendsmith, I'm going to put a very low YCS caliber to high potential regional caliber right now. That's right now. By the end of the year, check in with me if I'm still doing these episodes once a week, because this deck could easily fall off into like local level territory, kind of like the Adventure Engine. I actually see that happening to Fiendsmith here in the next coming months. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of top tier decks at the end here. And the reason I'm saving these guys is because they are all top tier decks, but I want to talk about where they fall, okay? First off, Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes Primite, in my opinion, I'm going to put here above all of these, because I do think that Blue Eyes Primite is better than all of these decks. However, I don't think it's better than any of these. Mitsu, Malice, Mermail, Ryzel, Fire King, Memento, and Labyrinth. I don't think it compete with those decks, but I do think it is a very top-heavy, strong YCS caliber deck, in my opinion. Speaking of which, Labyrinth. Labyrinth, in my opinion, come on, is one of the better decks in the game right now. It's the best trap deck in the game. Don't try to change my mind. It can play some insane traps. It can really, really mess with your opponent by adding in combo pieces. And I've even seen people now starting using the extra deck a lot more, which makes this deck even more dangerous. So be on the lookout for that. Memento. Memento is one of my top 4 decks in the game. I have a top 4, very easy, which you guys can probably see right now, but very easily, this is one of the top 4 decks in the game. I think that this deck took down back-to-back YCSs, and that's no joke. Pre and post a ban list. So, enough said right there. I think it does warrant a hit on the next ban list, but I don't think it will, just because newer, flashier stuff's going to kind of outshine it. Fire King. One of my favorite decks in the game, but it does fall right outside that top 4 tier, in my opinion. Yes, it has taken down multiple tournaments. I agree, I understand, and I see it. However, if it were me, and I was a betting man, I would put 4 other decks ahead of it, which I'll go over. But certainly is a high YCS caliber deck. Mermail. I think it kind of goes hand in hand with Fire King. I'm going to put Fire King ahead of it for this week because in the bigger tournaments that I've watched and done my research on it, Fire King has come out on top and actually beaten Mermail on its way to the top. So for this week at least, Fire King has the advantage as the 5th best deck in my opinion in the game. Okay, so leaves us with 2, right? Now for this week, the week of the 2nd in June 2025. What have we seen this week? We did see Malice take down for the first time, an entire tournament. I think it was either the French or Deutsch, I can't remember what tournament it was, but we watched a dude win the whole tourney with it. Yes, it had all the new support, yada yada yada. I don't think he was playing any Fiendsmith. I think he was playing a pure Malice with the new support build. And he took out Raziel's Mizurugi. Now, Game 3 was kind of sus, in my opinion. The dude went Castell to try and just send back a monster, and I don't know if he just lost track of the set GW6 or what he was thinking. He obviously should have gone Detonator and just started popping stuff. I don't know, it's weird, but if you watch Game 3, yeah, it kind of made me frustrated. For that reason, in my opinion, Raziel still stands on top, even after the win from Malice, because I feel like the win that happened with that tournament, the Raziel, if they were a better player, they would have won that game. Because even myself as a locals player, I don't even consider myself a top echelon player or anything like that. I think that Raziel should have won that game and that match. So maybe you guys, I want to encourage you guys to go back and watch that tourney. It just happened this past weekend. And you tell me if I was looking at Game 3 the wrong way. But from the way I saw the turn transpire and how he was playing, he had, obviously, because he XYZ'd into Castell, he had the resources to go into Detonator. So, kind of weird, but oh well. So, guys, this is this week's meta tier list in my opinion. This is where I think the game kind of falls right now. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. I really appreciate, again, all the viewership, the comments, the likes. Subscriptions are going crazy up for me. I know it's only been like 20, but that's still a lot of subs in 1 week, so I really appreciate everything. I want to continue this, so as long as viewership stays up, I will continue doing it. But let me know what you guys think. Am I off on what I'm saying here? Should I be putting a couple of these YCS decks down a notch? Should I be bringing up a couple of these regional decks up a notch? And do you think I'm wrong with what I'm saying is a local tier deck? And of course, the big conversation this week, I think we'll see, am I wrong about these? Where it's just like, where exactly do these land? Because those are my biggest question marks right now. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube, yada 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 stuff. And yeah, I look forward to next week and let's see where the game ends up. So that'll be it for me, guys. Be kind, be respectful. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.